York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
What's going on? It's your JLS from Nick of Time Show here, giving you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time. And I'm joined by my guys, Ryan G, who's in the building in the last. In the last Lee Escobedo. All right, let's get to it. Interesting news, very small news tidbit, but I just want to talk about it real quick. Emmanuel Quickley, okay? Emmanuel Quickley to me is one of those guys when people complain about how the Knicks don't develop guys. I point to Emmanuel Quickley because he's a guy who steadily got better every single year. He fits our culture in the way he's a hard worker. He studies film. He's in the gym late, and he's seeing the fruits of his labor. And with the fruits of his labor comes contract extensions, the ability to get more money. And so this is what's happening right now, right? News has come out. Shout out to Hoops High. Shout out to news has come out that the Knicks would consider an extension for Quickley around $20 million per year. And you know, my mind figured he's gonna probably be worth around $20 million. I was thinking to keep him, and the league seems to agree that that's his floor, like around the league. So this is not just the Knicks. Around the league, they think his floor would be $20 million a year. All right. But it also continues to say, should Quickley play himself into a higher average annual salary, the Knicks may consider trading him as part of a package to acquire a star player. Wording is very interesting here. Should Quickley play himself into a higher average salary? Should. To me, I'm looking at contract negotiations. I'm thinking, all right, are they going to offer Quickley a contract this season? But from the wording, it looks like they might just play it out. Am I and try to address it towards the end of next season? So I don't know. What do you think? Am I reading this weird correctly? Do you guys agree with me?
Give this kid the badge, man. I'm tired of the back and forth. Like the unknowingness makes my stomach churn. If we squander another solid young player that we scouted and then drafted and then developed, and really, I think Tibbs has given him a lot of great opportunity to show what he is. He's one of the bright spots in Tibbs' coaching tenure, and as you said, a great touching point of, hey, the Knicks can actually develop talent now, along with Mitchell Robinson and Grimes and RJ. Quickley, I think, has been the kid that we've developed the best because he came into out of college as a shooter. And now he's a playmaker. Now he's a top-tier defender. Now he's someone who can even rebound the ball for his height and skill set. We need to keep him, man. If we squander this and we end up trading him in some like whack-ass Zach LaVine trade, I'm going to be pissed because I think this kid has star potential. And of all of our players under the age of 25, in my opinion, I think he has the highest ceiling. I came onto the bandwagon late. JLS has been, maybe he's a founder of the Emmanuel Quickley bandwagon, but I'm all the way on it. I have a lot of hope and promise in this guy. I love his personality, love his spirit, and I love how he changes the atmosphere of a game when he enters in and substitutes in off the bench. If we even paid him $30 a year, I wouldn't be upset because I think that given a starting role, he would earn every penny of that contract. So give him the bad. Don't trade him. And I hate this talk about leaving it ambiguous. I think that it ostracizes the players you're talking about, in this case, Quickley, and it's going to end up putting a bad taste in his mouth as the season goes on when he starts being mentioned in rumored trade packages for players that he probably thinks he either is as good as or could be as good as if given the same opportunity.
Woo, you said 30 million. Woo.
I would.
That's great, man. It seems like the Knicks are playing to match. It seems like they're playing the match game. That's what it looks like to me. It looks like from the wording, they're not planning on giving him an extension per se this season, and they're just gonna like play it out and try to match or trade him before. So they playing Russian roulette right now.
Hate it.
They playing Russian roulette right now. So it's gonna get interesting. And with this new CBA, maybe that has something to do with it, because this new CBA, man, it makes it really hard to keep multiple high level like role player star cogs, like it makes it really hard to have multiple of those guys on a roster. So like I think you're gonna start to see a lot of teams lose a lot of really good high level role players or semi starters, or because they just don't have the bag because of the, the the NBA is kind of moving into like an NFL style contracts right now, where it's going to cut into a lot of teams' depth. But what do you think, Ryan? What do you think about the Quickly thing?
Um, yeah, first and foremost, I'm going to need like a capologist and and really read through the new CBA to see how, you know, paying quickly that money along with the other contracts and Knicks have how it would affect them later down the line. For me to like have a really clear view on, whether, you know, depending on how much they pay quickly, if quickly is a piece that they can keep or quickly is a piece that they can or quickly is a piece that they would have to possibly trade or whatever the case may be. But in general, just speaking on quickly and what he contributes to this team, like yeah, you have to pay this man. This man has improved every year since he's been with the Knicks. As Lee said, he's developed his game tremendously. He's gone from just a shooter to a guy that, defensively, he's a beast.
Yep.
Offensively, he can play make. Offensively, he can shoot the ball. And his handles gotten better over the years as well. So it's definitely a guy he can keep on 4 years, 80 million. That's pretty much, I think, 20 million a year. It seems like that's what's going right now for a high value role player, which is what he is at the moment, six man coming off the bench. So I think that's a reasonable contract for what he's providing at the moment. And yeah, if you could sign him to 4 years, 80 million, I mean, you do that easily. Like there should be no hesitation.
I think if he was in a situation like OKC, Orlando, Toronto, Sacramento, where he was given an opportunity to be a starter out the gate upon being drafted in 2020, I think he would be averaging Zach LaVine numbers right now in his fourth or fifth season. I think you could see him average 23, 24 points if given the right opportunity in this. I named systems where players develop and they get better. So I didn't name any like horrible franchises, but in terms of teams that have opportunity for players of his skill set, the two-way ability that he has, the playmaking ability he has, he's already shooting the same as Zach LaVine shot from three last year, 37%, same rebounds, same assists. It's just a point differential. And that's because Zach LaVine has a higher usage rate, a higher role, higher minutes, a starting opportunity. You do quickly all of those things in Chicago. I think at this point, he's doing the same exact thing. Why not invest in someone that you actually found and developed instead of trading a bunch of assets, including quickly, for someone who can come in like Zach LaVine? I'd rather just keep him, give him the bad, and start him at the 2 next to Jalen Brunson. I know it's a controversial subject. I don't care, man. I love quickly. Put that man at the 2, bring Grimes off the bench.
Yeah, you already know I hate super small starting backcourt, so I like him off the bench. But although I do want to keep him at the same time, I'm not sure if it's the best. I'm not like I would like to close with him in a lot of situations, like we're using him. But that's just me. When it comes to the CBA, Ryan, I'm not an expert. I've read through the article that's written by Freddie Katz on the CBA. From my understanding, for one, you don't have the ability to sign mid-level exception players after you hit like a certain tax apron with this new CBA, which is why we even got Dante DiVincenzo, because they were, Golden State Warriors pretty much just weren't able to afford it. So, we're entering that situation where we're not going to be able to sign mid-level exception players, which is probably why Dante even got 4 years, because you want to keep those players for long periods of time when you're cash strapped. So that's one. But the other part is, when you're trading players, they usually say, you know what, you can trade a player who, if you have a player who's makes 32 million, you can trade him for somebody who's in his range, but like, maybe like 26 or 27, because it's like, I forgot this, like 10% or something. I forgot a percentage. It's like a certain percentage of what that player is worth. You can trade him. But with the new CBA, it has to be apples for apples. If you have a player that makes 32 million, you have to trade him for another player that's worth 32 million. So it's less wiggle room when you're over the tax apron to make trades and to sign players. So it's a lot trickier. So it's going to be harder for teams who are over the cap to actually make moves, which is why when you're looking at the projection of this team, you're like, all right, Josh Hart is going to get a little under 80, a little under 80 million in August. That's what EM is reported. And then you have Emmanuel Quickley is probably gonna get around the same. And now you're looking at Grimes in the year. You know what I'm saying? Now if Grimes takes a step, which I think he can, now you're looking at 3 players who can make 20 million. And these are like aren't superstars. These are like these could end up being like high level role players. And then we're cash strapped. We can't make a move, and we're like, we damn near better have an all-star in here at that point because we're not gonna be able to do anything. You know what I'm saying? So this is probably what the Knicks are looking at, and this is probably why they're kind of might be playing chicken with extensions, because we're approaching a point where it's gonna be harder for us to make moves if we end up paying everybody. You know what I mean? So it makes it tricky. It makes it really tricky. So IQ was definitely worth it for sure. But thinking of the pay within the team concept and how we're going to maneuver and get other players here while keeping our players happy is going to be more of a challenge for sure.
Yeah, to me, Quickley needs to be prioritized at the top of the heap. I wouldn't even have it leaking out that you would even consider trading him. I think he should be a cornerstone of the franchise. If anything, Josh Hart absolutely should be in any conversation to be traded before Emmanuel Quickley.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those things where Emmanuel Quickley's upside is larger to me. Josh Hart is the reason why our bench was stabilized. So he's that depth piece that we definitely need. So it's tricky because we end up trading Josh Hart. It better be for a damn good all-star. You know what I'm saying? And also not only because we need an all-star, but the Jalen Brunson caveat. Like they're best friends. So if you're going to trade his best friend on the team, you damn well better bring a guy who's gonna be worth it to keep Jalen Brunson happy. You know what I mean?
You know, I'll defend my my criticism of the front office in regards to Emmanuel Quickley. When I think about the 2 guys that Leon Rose has targeted and been in discussions for in terms of trading, Donovan Mitchell and Zach LaVine, I would not include Emmanuel Quickley in a package for either of those 2 guys. I would rather keep Emmanuel Quickley than acquire either Mitchell or LaVine. And those are 2 guys we know through very credible sources, Ian Begley and even Shams. Those are 2 guys, and it's targeted, and we're in discussions down to the deadline. And Emmanuel Quickley was involved in a package, at least for LaVine. I know for sure. I'm not sure about Donovan Mitchell, but Quickley was involved in the Zach LaVine conversations, and I'd rather keep Quickley over both those guys.
Yeah, I can see an argument for it. I can definitely see an argument for it. It kind of leads me. I don't know what this situation is right now, which kind of brings me to this other conversation. Let's just bleed into this conversation. The price of an all-star. All right, it's come out that the Knicks have been looking to trade for Paul George, and Mike Scotto, he reported that New York was considering a package of Obi Toppin, Quentin Grimes, and Evan Fournier with 3 first-round picks for Paul George. This is interesting because you don't see Emmanuel Quickley's name here. So that might have been the case last season, but I think Quickley might have moved up the pecking order. Shout out to Jason M, who's having that conversation on Twitter about that.
Hope so.
It sounds like Quickley has moved up the pecking order, and we're prioritizing Quickley. Now, you know, it didn't happen, and the Clippers wanted to switch out Obi Toppin for RJ Barrett, but that was the package. And on top of that, it was reported by Ian Begley that the Knicks pretty much have like a set price for all-stars, and they're not budget. So this might be their package for anybody they're going after. This could be like their Zach LaVine package, their James Harden. It could be whoever. Like this might just be the package they're shopping, and it seems like they're not budging on it. So how do you guys feel about that news of the package? Do you feel like we should offer more? Do you feel like this is fine? if there's a bigger name that you're interested in, do you feel like we should throw another name in there?
I'll say this. Good job on the Knicks for not accepting that trade because I think with Paul George is Paul George a player that's going to definitely transform the team? Yes, he is. But I think the fact that his injury history is not that great, I don't think you give up 3 first-round picks for a player like that. And Obi Toppin, Quentin Grimes, here's the thing, because with the new CBA, you really have to be picky about who you give extensions to, and I understand that. And if you're gonna take a preference and be like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna pay Quickley his money, and you're gonna keep Josh Hart, right then and there, you already made a decision like these are the 2 role players I'm going with, and those are the 2 guys I'm gonna keep on this roster. So therefore, I think to re-sign Obi and to re-sign Grimes is gonna be difficult anyway in the future based on this new CBA. So at that point, I don't mind including those 2 guys in a deal if it means a superstar player is going to return to the Knicks in the process, or a star player is going to return to the Knicks in the process. So overall, I don't have an issue with the deal. It's just the first round picks given up for Paul George, just for the simple fact that Paul George is an off the injured player, and and then at most, like I think he only has 2 years until you have to think about considering giving him an extension, and I don't think the Knicks would give him an extension just based on the fact that he's an older player anyway. So for a 2-year rental, I wouldn't give up 3 first-round picks for that. But overall, if you look at the current market the way it is, especially these trades you see go down recently for like big name players, if I'm the Knicks, like yeah, I'm not going to package a whole bunch of players and picks for these guys. Like I'm not, because it seems like the market has gone down, and since the market has gone down, you offer just a reasonable package. And if teams are trying to beat you in the head and they're trying to get more out of you, then you just tell them, nah, I'm good. Because it seems like players are being traded for cheaper now. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a good job by the front office where they have a set price, and if teams are not willing to meet that price, then you tell them go kick rocks.
I agree with Ryan. The Knicks used to be used as leverage around the league for decades to drive the price, the asking price, the competitive bidding war amongst other teams for players, because they knew that the Knicks would overpay. And the teams had really no interest in ever making negotiations with them. They just wanted to use them to drive the asking price for the other team that they actually wanted negotiations with. That's been the case for almost 20 years under Dolan. And that's no longer the situation here. But now we've become one of those teams that the rest of the league, the other 29 teams, know you can't rip off. We're not the place that players go to be overpaid and grab the bag and just put up empty stats. There's actually trying to be something built here, and we have a specific type of player that we're going after. I mean, that's why we're linked to guys like the two-way guys like Levine and Paul George, opposed to serious negotiations for Harden. We're no longer interested in the aging stars past their prime. They're looking for that last bag. And I think that the major conversation stopper for Paul George, while I'm cool with the package, was the extension.
Yeah.
Wanting to pay him beyond the age of 35, upwards to 30 million plus. That's to me, that's bad business. And I think Leon Rose, as an former agent, knows that and didn't acquiesce to it. That was the right move. And I like the fact that he has a line in the sand he's not willing to cross with these GMs like Masai and Danny Ainge, who are trying to rip everyone off that they do negotiations with. So hopefully at some point it'll work in our favor and we'll get that player that we're going after, and we end up giving up a package that we feel comfortable with moving forward.
Yeah. I know Knicks fans are like, make the move, just throw it. I like the fact that we're being patient and we're waiting for the right move and not just anybody, because you can just add anybody and it'll just mess you up for years down the line just because you use your assets on one person and now you have to reset and collect assets over again. So I like the fact that we're being patient. I do understand though that the window is starting to close a little bit on when we can pull the trigger, because especially with the new CBA, we talk about it again. Like we have to get another all-star in here before it's time to like give Jalen Brunson a real bag. Because because we all know Jalen Brunson is making 25 mil, 20 severely underpaid. It's like when it's time to give that boy like whatever the new bag is supposed to be in a few years, was 50 mil a year or 60, whatever it's going to be. We have to have a legit guy in here. Otherwise we're stuck. So I like the fact never being patient and we're waiting for the right guy. But something has to break our way soon. Something has to break our way soon.
Agreed.
Otherwise, we'll be in trouble. And hopefully, something will. Ian Begley reported on the putback. He still has his eye on Embiid. He feels like there's something there. And you know me, I trust Woj, I trust Ian, and I trust God. All right. So Ian said it. I believe there's something there. Not to say Embiid is coming to the Knicks, but just looking at the way the 76ers are being run right now, it seems like Embiid probably was low-key frustrated for a year or two now. That's what's been the conversation that Ian's having. He's had this conversation low-key since like last season. So I'll keep an eye on that. And shoot, even Giannis, man. Ian said on the putback, there's guys that I really trust that told me that we should keep an eye on the Giannis situation moving forward. So
Let's go.
Listen. So keep those chips, man. Keep those chips. I know people are like, why haven't we traded Evan Fournier yet? Listen? Evan Fournier is a trade filler chip. Any team who wants to reset, they're going to want an expiring contract. So all you guys who are pissed that Evan Fournier is still on the team, you trust me, you just don't want to get rid of him or cut him for nothing. You want to keep him around as a sweetener for teams to match salaries.
You add Joel Embiid or Giannis to Jalen Brunson, you don't just have a championship, you got a dynasty. I mean, those two guys together, it's game over. And it's going to be a top 2, top 3 team for the next 5-6 years plus.
Absolutely. Shoot. I'm even looking at Devin Booker, man. I'm sorry. I don't trust anybody's knees in Phoenix. I'll say I don't care. I don't trust the team DNP down there. I don't know what's going to happen. They're building out a nice little team over there, but their health is I don't know, man. Their health ain't all the way there, so I'm keeping an eye on them too. And low key, you still got to look at the Raptors. This is not the big swing move, but you still got to look at the Paul. I can see the Knicks revisiting Paul George, depending on what's happened with the Clippers at the trade deadline. I can see the Knicks looking at the Raptors at the trade deadline because the Raptors are in flux right now. They don't know if they're going left or right. We've been linked to OG Anunoby last season. So I can see the Raptors, saying we have to blow it up again after they lost Fred VanVleet. And now we have to we have to right the ship and we're still not, making any progress. So let's blow it up, get some picks and start over. I can see that. So there's still more moves to make. We might have to be patient to see what happens. Some moves could come in the offseason. Some moves could come in the trade deadline. It's wait and see. All right.
Yep. Well put.
All right. That's our show, man. Thank you guys for watching. Please hit that like button, subscribe button. Hopefully you enjoyed the KOT show. That is our show. We out this mug.
Peace.
New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.